Okay, this is the evaluation for theft. So you would need this in an essay question about theft. I would start off going through the definition. Before, though, I'm just going to mention a couple of points. First off is the sentence for theft. Is 7 years long enough? If you steal £10 million, does 7 years punish the defendant enough? Is it enough of a deterrent? The other factor to do with the sentence is I would compare it to ABH and Section 20 GBH. For ABH and GBH, the maximum sentence you can get is 5 years. So what we're saying is we are going to give you longer for stealing property than we are for harming a person. So perhaps you could write something along the lines of, are we valuing property over people? The next point I would say is that theft comes from an Act of Parliament. This is good. It respects the separation of powers, that 3 arms of the state must be kept separate. Parliament is sovereign. Only Parliament should be making law because it's democratic. We vote for Parliament, albeit we only vote for one of the houses, the House of Commons. I would then perhaps mention that there are no current proposals for reform, which suggests that Parliament is happy with the law. It doesn't feel that it's in urgent need of reform. Then I would go through the actus reus, picking out some key points, and then go through the mens rea. So first of all, appropriation, section 3. It's good. It protects vulnerable people. So in Hinks, it protects people taking advantage of others. In Lawrence, also, it's good because our foreign student was protected by the taxi driver who took too much money because he didn't give true consent. The thing I would say about Hinks, going back to that, is it was only a 3-2 decision, which actually suggests it's quite weak and might change in the future. And in civil law, a gift is yours to keep, so there is a contrast between civil and criminal. Section 4, property, I don't think poses too many problems. You might want to discuss the fact that information is not included under Section 4. However, this is not a problem because we have other Acts of Parliament which deal with information, and particularly more modern Acts of Parliament and GDPR regulations and so on. Section 5, belonging to another, quite a wide meaning because it belongs to you, the owner, or anyone in possession and control of the goods. The case of Ricketts, where the defendant was convicted when he took things from the charity shop bin and bags outside, you could discuss that. Maybe you could argue that the shop, particularly with the bin situation, the shop had given up their rights of ownership, so they'd abandoned the property. I perhaps would also query, is it really in the public interest to prosecute people who take things from bins or skips? It seems like quite a waste of money and time when there are serious crimes that need to be dealt with by the courts. You've then got the situation of the mens rea, so you need to look at dishonesty. The Ivy test, I would say, allows jury discretion, which is good because juries consider what a reasonable and honest person is. However, there is no definition of that, and it may vary from jury to jury, so you have less consistency. It's also a point to mention that the Theft Act didn't define dishonesty, which it tried to help by defining situations where you are not dishonest. And maybe the word dishonesty, I mean, the dictionary definition is not honest. So maybe we don't actually need a definition, and it's a good thing that it's left to juries to decide. The final point, section 6, with intent to permanently deprive the other of it. Again, quite a wide definition. I think it's good that it includes when you borrow an item and you reduce the value of it. I don't agree with the decision in Lloyd. It seems an odd decision. When he copied the film from the cinema and returned it, I would argue that it has actually reduced the value because by playing the film even once surely reduces the value. And also you've got the situation where now people are not going to the cinema to watch that film. They were buying the dodgy pirate copies from Lloyd and whoever else. So seems a strange decision when they had the opportunity to uphold his conviction and they decided not to. So it's not an exhaustive list of points that we've just talked about, but things to think about, and you may have more points of your own, which is absolutely fine. Just remember to refer to the question, and if it talks about is the law fair, keep mentioning all the points I've talked about. Discuss whether they are fair, or does it achieve justice or not. The idea, just I think one final point, the idea that the rule of law says that law must be accessible and understandable to all, and in court, legal counsel use words like actus reus and mens rea and appropriation, and these are not everyday words. So I don't agree that the law is accessible to all, and you've got jury members deciding, and magistrates, but jury members deciding on somebody's guilt and potentially their liberty. So watch this and watch the AO1 video for an essay, but remember this AO3 assessment objective 3 is only needed for an essay and not a scenario.